Hasselt University in Belgium. I think you're ready here. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Is it already there? Yes. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Sanne and I am from Hasselt University in Belgium. So, last May, Rosanne Bosch visited our university because she received an honorary doctorate on her inspiring work she's doing in the context of school environments. Is this right? Yeah, I can have your name. Okay, thanks. So these words by Rosanne capture our ambition. It's not about redesigning a classroom, it's about creating the right conditions so that every student, regardless their talent, background, can truly thrive. So I'm personally very inspired by Rosanne as an interior architect and a researcher in the educational field. So the three core pillars of our project. Of the i-TeachLab project demonstrates how UDL can be translated in actionable frameworks across teaching, assessment, and spatial practice. So through three interconnected strands. So we have our inclusive evaluation tool. It's called Inscape. It's a university-wide self-reflection tool for inclusive assessment. Then we have our Uplift professionalization program. It's a professionalization development program on inclusive pedagogy and spatial awareness. And last but not least, the architectural awakening. So increasing architectural awareness of the influence of spatial elements on well-being and learning. So the project bridges pedagogical, architectural, and policy domains to support lasting systematic change. For our data collection, so the i-TeachLab is an innovative educational research project, which the research of Rut Stevens on how spatial characteristics influence pedagogy and the research of Elke Emmers on UDL and learning environments are coming together. And the workshops and tools we developed used a mixed method research design, and they examined how Hasselt lecturers integrate UDL in their teaching and how they use learning spaces. So for this baseline, we use questionnaire and interviews, which together provide rich insights onto lecturers' awareness, attitudes, and practices related to the use of the physical learning environment and inclusive teaching. In addition to that, we did a lot of classroom observations, and here we got into how teachers use UDL in their classroom practice and how they use the space in that lesson. And this data we currently use to extend the existing Hasselt classroom inventory with space. So the data, we use it in the inventory with the affective and experiential spatial attributes. And then at last, we employed the diary method with students. They recorded their daily life at our campus, so we hand out several diaries and to look into how they experience classrooms. So we get really nice insights on how they experience the room and maybe if they experience an impact on their motivation, their engagement in the classes. So our first pillar, it's the inclusive evaluation tool. So Inscape is a self-scan developed for teachers, to support teachers to reflect on inclusive didactics and evaluations practices across our university. So rather than functioning as an evaluation tool, it's more like a low threshold professionalization tool that encourages dialogue and critical reflection. So the scan is theoretical grounded in three pillars. So we have our i-TPAC model, the 9 guidelines of UDL, and research-based insight into the physical learning environment. And together, these frameworks allow lecturers to reflect on inclusion from a holistic perspective. The Inscape invites reflection across 4 dimensions. So we have our inclusive instructional design, social inclusion and classroom climate, the physical and digital learning environment, and the inclusive assessment. And each item is scored on a scale from 0 to 3 And we left space for personal reflection and feedback, allowing the tool not function only as an evaluation tool, but and as a self-scan, but also as a validation instrument that can be evolved through dialogue with lecturers. So our second pillar is our Uplift professionalization program. So we organize workshops under the general heading Uplift. Here, lecturers and educators have the opportunity to learn about inclusive teaching and interact in hands-on activities to analyze classrooms and their own lesson design. So they're invited to reflect critically in which classroom would best support a lesson they have designed, and not only how they want to teach, but also in what space align with that vision and what they have to do to, how do you say it? What they can do to adapt the space accordingly. So depending on the demands and needs, we put together a package of practices from a basic level to a mastery level, depending on the asking faculty. We want to encourage teachers to strive for the perfect match between various elements. So the choice of the classroom, the duration of the lesson, and its structure. And this includes deciding which teaching method to use, whether it's individual work with a one-on-one guidance, or the real strength lies in peer work, peer learning with groups or with pairs. We aim to make the teachers more consciously aware of their time, space, organization decisions, and have a critical look on their own lesson design. So at the beginning, they connect their teaching style with their spatial conditions they need as a teacher. Then the third pillar, so in this package, we focus on strengthening architectural awareness in teaching practice by developing both spatial literacy and spatial agency. Central to this pillar is the recognition that the learning environment do have a great effect on well-being, accessibility, and pedagogical choices, rather than serving only as a neutral backdrop. So we start from the spatial literacy. Oh, 1, 2, 4. I'm sorry. Here we are. Sorry. So we start from spatial literacy. It's understood as a shared conceptual framework, so that teachers recognize key spatial elements and understand how they affect their teaching, but also their students and their pedagogical choices. And this awareness is then extended towards spatial agency, so the willingness and the capacity to use space and act upon it. And then we have the spatial competence, and this is referring to a form of mastery in which lecturers strategically deploy spatial features to support learning objectives and make deliberate, informed design choices. So we access both objective characters, so it's about capacity, ventilation, daylight, but we also have a look on the affectives, and it's about the atmosphere and the experience in this particular room. These are inspired by Pelasma's 7 senses, and we consider both the teacher's perspective and also the student's perspective. In this work package, we developed a workshop. It's called the Teacher's Rider, and I will explain a little more about it. But first, really short, because I'm thinking we're out of time a little bit. Okay, perfect. So the research shows that physical learning environments has a significant impact on students' performance, health, and well-being. And despite this evidence, we still, not all of them, but we still, many classrooms have barely changed over the past year. So in this picture. Learning space is still positive, prioritize efficiency over experience. So I would like to do a really, really small exercise with you, if the time is there. So can I ask here in the first table, how many chairs will be here in this room, do you think? Miss? 100, all right. And are they fixed or are they movable? Okay, and maybe in the back, are they fixed or movable? Movable. get a quick look, they are movable, but they're clicked together, so you can't move around that much. So that sort of little small things, that's one of our things we use in our workshops, to really look to the room, to experience the room. Maybe another question. What was the first impression of this room for you here from the front, Miss? Of you? Yeah. It's cold. All right, all right, all right. That's a good example. So I said something about objective and affectives. So that's an example from an objective. They're accountable, measurable. But something else about the experience of the room. What do you think of this room? It's nice. All right, all right, all right. Something else? Dark. All right. And for you, Miss? You like it dark? Yeah, so that's a great example. So for everyone, the room has a different experience, and that's also something we want to capture in our workshop. So our first step is to have this architectural awareness among teachers, and then the next step, we go into have a look on their own lesson design and have a critical look on, is this lesson I designed right for this particular room? All right? We have 2 minutes left, I think. 2 minutes, perfect. All right, move on. So one of the tools we developed is the Teachers Writer Workshop. So the Writer is a workshop designed to reawaken and inspire architectural awareness among teachers. So first we asked the question to teachers, how do you identify yourself as a teacher? So what do you think is important for you as a teacher? What values you want to carry out? How do you want students to see you as a teacher? And then we invite them over to a big poster we designed. It's called the Utopian Learning Landscape. And we asked them to select their ideal setting, identifying which spatial element resonates with them and why. And then the next question is, what do you really need as a teacher to perform? And this is where the name Writer came from. We got inspired by the pop industry, like Beyoncé. She really needs blue M&Ms on a writer in order to perform. So what do you really need as a teacher to give your best learning experience? And then equally important, where does the sense of ownership over the space begin? So through the workshop, we aim to provoke deeper thinking about physical learning environment and hopefully inspire participants to take initiative in how they use and adapt their space, with the ultimate goal of improving the quality of teaching, of course. Here you see our utopian learning landscape. You can find 22 distinct educational scenarios. All right. So we did the workshop at several locations. So last year we did the workshop at the Velom Velof conference in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And a week later we did it with pre-service teachers in the Faculty of Education in Lyon, Spain. And we truly believe there's a shift in mindset needed, where better to begin with the teachers of the future. So, and nice to mention, we developed the workshop into an A1 publication, and 2 days ago it got published. I'm very happy. It's my first publication. Thank you. All right. To conclude, so from research to space, the i-TeachLab, our ultimate goal is to create a physical space where educators can experiment, practice, and reflect, the actual i-TeachLab. So allowing teachers to test, refine their inclusive teaching approaches in a controlled yet dynamic setting. So a place that demonstrates educators can use space as a tool. We are not there yet, but we are at the beginning at something promising. So the i-TeachLab project is still in its early stages, but the potential is there. We want to keep building, keep researching, and above all, keep imagining together how space become a teaching partner. Thank you very much.